You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, why local hospital officials say the recent COVID surge is pushing healthcare workers to their limits.
A break from the heat. We're going to kick off August with mild temperatures, a gorgeous sunrise, and perhaps even some haze from West Coast wildfires.
Also, we get a look at some upcoming Connect to Culture events for the month of August. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Zach Dodge. Mercy Hospital Joplin's president says the area's current COVID-19 surge is putting a strain on their healthcare workers. With 75 COVID-19 hospitalizations as of Friday and 20 of those patients on a ventilator, the Mercy president adds that the increase in COVID patients is having a bigger effect on the hospital.
We are stretched to our limits. There's no doubt about it. We're responding on a 24-hour basis of what's ahead of us. Our ER is full. We have long waits in our ERs because, it's not just COVID patients. We got other people that need our services and our help. We have trauma. We have emergency surgeries.
The hospital adds that 94% of those hospitalized for COVID-19 are unvaccinated. In a little over 24 hours, a number of 4-state voters will head to the polls to make their voices heard. Ahead of the upcoming August 3rd election, we're going to take a moment to rehash what's on the ballot. We begin in Jasper County. First up, a sales tax increase for the Jasper County Emergency Services. The current sales tax rate is 0.1% and hasn't been increased since it was approved in 1994 to fund 911 services in the county. The increase would take it to 0.25% and would help fund maintenance improvements, a countywide public safety radio system, non-emergency calls for service to law enforcement, emergency medical services, and fire protection. In the city of Purcell, citizens are being asked to authorize the city to sell its water and wastewater utilities to Missouri American Water for $200,000. In Carthage, voters are being asked to approve a local use tax, which would match the current local sales tax rate, which is 2.75%. Over in Joplin, voters being asked to renew their parks and stormwater sales tax. That tax is 0.25% and would be renewed for an additional 10 years. This tax was first approved by voters in 2001. And in Avila, voters will decide whether or not to extend the boundaries of the Avila Fire Protection District to include the city of La Russell. We'll break down some more ballot issues in the 4 states a little bit later in the show. And on the Kansas side, voters in Cherokee County will be asked to allow USD 493 Columbus to issue bonds for $14,750,000. If approved, those bonds would pay for improvements to the Central Campus facility, as well as improvements to the 7th grade wing at the existing high school building, and fund additional improvements as needed. In Labette County, voters in Chetopa have a sales tax question to decide on. The city is asking voters to approve a retailer sales tax of 0.5% to be used exclusively for parks and street maintenance and improvements. If approved, the tax would begin on January 1st of next year and run for 5 years, expiring on December 21st of 2026. A local artist just finished his latest mural in downtown Joplin. The mural, titled "Look Up and Smile," aims to make the people of Joplin do just that. Eric Hahn, the artist behind the painting, says he was inspired to make the piece because he wanted to add more beauty to Joplin and to create something that would brighten people's day. You can find the mural at 8th and Main in downtown Joplin. Bricks spilled onto the sidewalk along 31st Street in Kansas City Saturday morning after a driver ran into the old Laugh-O-Gram studio building. The structure was home to Walt Disney almost 100 years ago. It's said to be where Mickey got his ears. This building was already under construction, set to become an incubator for more creators and innovators, something officials say embodied the spirit of Walt Disney.
Walt Disney brought some animators from Kansas City to Hollywood, and they may never have had that opportunity ever in their lives. And I truly believe that there are some great people coming out of those doors in the years to come.
The Thank You Walt Disney nonprofit is starting a capital campaign for the project in the next month or so. The candy, known for its unique dispenser, is schooling TikTok on the proper way to load it. Pez Candy tweeted this video message about the right way to load a Pez dispenser. The post was made in response to a viral video showing a TikTok user loading Pez Candy through the bottom of the dispenser without removing the wrapper. Pez says the video is just a myth, and their video is the myth buster. According to Pez, you cannot load its wrapped candy roll from the bottom. However, with a little skill, you can unroll it and slide it in all 12 candy pieces into the dispenser at once.
I mean, you can load it wrapped.
Technically
you can.
I mean,
you ain't gonna get anything
out of it. I would have to try it and see how difficult it is, but technically, probably.
Who in the world would load it wrapped?
I mean, have you seen the video on TikTok though?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay. So you literally just take the whole wrap, you stick it in the bottom,
Right.
you shove it up in there,
Right.
and then you push the head back down, and it spits the wrapper out, from what it looks like anyway. Pez says it's a myth, but it looks like it works.
Well, no, if it was on TikTok or Wikipedia, it's got to be true,
It's got to be true, right?
Right. Yeah, that's isn't that what kids are sourcing any now in research papers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it on TikTok and I read it on Wikipedia, so it's got to be true. Introduced my daughter to microfiche a couple years ago to teach her how to look things up. She's like, "This is ridiculous." I'm like, "I know." Welcome to my world.
Right?
Welcome to the college library.
Oh, yeah.
Live look outside of 7th and Range Line. It is just a gorgeous Monday start, and the nice thing is we don't have to fight any heat. And really won't have to for the next several days. 62 degrees is where we stand right now. Even with the humidity at 93%, feels delightful outside. 65 in Pittsburgh and Monette. Let's go 63 in Carthage and Parsons and Miami and Nevada. Already up to 66. Yeah, we know the blue doesn't count. How about that? I want a T-shirt that says that. How about a Weather Dork T-shirt, Zach? It's got a sweeping radar on it.
Right.
And it says the blue doesn't count.
And it's got like an e-ink display, so the radar sways, but it doesn't take a whole lot of power.
Zach, do not steal our intellectual property, folks.
Right.
Zach and I just created that.
We got to patent that.
All the rain in the Arklatex region. That's about the closest excitement we got to us coming off of the thunderstorms that we did have on Saturday. Nice to take a little break here. We'll have sunshiny skies, but there is going to be a little bit of a haze hanging over us, and that is a result of the West Coast wildfires. And we'll have that haze here for really next 2 days. But look at these temperatures, mid-80s, plenty of sunshine, and really don't have a good shot of rain. Just got to watch out for the heat reemerging there from Friday to Sunday.
Thank you much, Michael. Up next, infections continue to rise.
COVID-19 infections are reaching the highest levels in months. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the new warning from health officials about the summer surge.
And the return of LP. Is vinyl in again? We'll head to Carthage to find out. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. More people are getting vaccinated, but as coronavirus infections rise in the U.S., public health officials are making some grim predictions about what the rest of the summer will bring. Bradley Blackburn reports from New York.
For the first time in months, the U.S. is recording over 100,000 new COVID-19 cases a day. Health officials say the Delta variant is to blame.
We're now dealing with a virus that has an extraordinary capability of spreading from person to person.
In the U.S., hospitalizations were up nearly 50% last week, 97% of them involving unvaccinated individuals.
We're looking to some pain and suffering in the future because we're seeing the cases go up.
COVID claimed more than 8,300 lives in the U.S. over the past month. The CDC expects deaths will rise in most of the country in the coming weeks.
Until the rest of the world understands that they have to be vaccinated, we're not going to get on top of this pandemic.
Experts say vaccines are still the best weapon to fight the pandemic, but so far only half the population has been fully vaccinated.
We've really got to get those people to change their minds, make it easy for them, convince them, do something to get them to be vaccinated because they are the ones that are propagating this outbreak.
The vaccination rate has recently started to climb again. The number of first doses administered was up 30% last week. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
The state of Florida reported more than 21,000 new COVID-19 cases on Friday. That's the most infections recorded in a single day since the start of the pandemic. For the first time, researchers at Mount Sinai have discovered World Trade Center first responders with the most exposure to toxic dust are more likely to develop liver disease. They say continued monitoring is critical for responders, especially those who were at ground zero right after the September 11th attacks, because they had a higher exposure to the dust. Bottoms up, there's a new luxury tequila on the market, and its bottle contains 24-karat gold. Take a look at this newest release from Clase Azul. Clase Azul Gold is a blend that includes an 8-year-old extra añejo aged in bourbon barrels. I am so sorry. It comes in a one-of-a-kind decanter that has 24-karat gold trim, along with Clase Azul's iconic agave medallion, also dipped in gold. It's one of the first limited editions that they've made available in the United States. Typically, getting one requires a trip to its boutique in Los Cabos. Only 6,000 of them will be sold. And can you guess how much it costs, Michael? $300, which is not. Yeah.
We seem to be doing this trend. I don't know if it's our news stories, if it's a worldwide trend. Why are people consuming gold in their bodies?
I don't know. I can't afford to buy gold anyway. Why would I want to eat it?
A thing with like French fries that had gold dust powder on them, and
don't crazy. Yeah.
I don't want.
But I will say $300 is not quite as much as I was expecting.
No, I thought it was. I thought the price tag is actually going to be much higher.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of gold dust, evidently.
Right. Apparently not.
All right, Zach, let's take a look at how we were able to break our July heat wave right there. Average July high was 88.5 degrees. It's really not too bad, but look at that string that we ran right there until first day of August after Saturday's thunderstorms brought us temperatures around 84 degrees. And we'll be just about there this afternoon too. Gorgeous start on 7th and Rangeline. Temperatures ranging from about 62 to Anderson, bumped up to 68 right there. All the rain staying down to the south of us. Got the color contour showing us the cooler temperatures that are dropping in, complements of the jet stream and limiting all that heat down to the Gulf Coast to the mid-Atlantic. Everybody that was locked in the old heat warnings, advisories, the whole nine, those are a thing of the past. And even the thunderstorm activity for this Monday into Tuesday really doesn't amount to very much. Our afternoon planner has sunny skies, a little bit of a haze from the West Coast wildfires, temperatures in the mid-80s, and we get to enjoy mild temperatures because we don't see the reemergence of the 90s until Friday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome to Sonic.
Back to the KOAM Morning News, and even in the midst of the heat wave, we know we've got milder temperatures out there, and hopefully August is going to cooperate with us because we've got this thing called JOMO Jammin'. And we're fortunate enough to be joined by Emily Frankowski of Connect to Culture. And Emily, we've got a laundry list of great events and cultural experiences that you're going to tell us about that your organization is able to bring us. But I want to start with our concert coming up on August the 7th, Mercy Park, 7 p.m. Folks, if you're not familiar with Me Like Bees, they tour the United States. They just happen to be from Joplin, Missouri. And Emily, I'll give you the floor after that to kind of talk about our hometown indie rockers.
Yeah, Me Like Bees is just a powerhouse. And, you know, we've been trying to do these free performances every Saturday in Mercy Park. But like you said, Mother Nature has just not played nice. And for their particular night, when they were performing with Fox Royale got through their set. And then all the heavens broke loose, you know, and it just downpoured. And we worked with Me Like Bees to reschedule them for August 7th. So Like you said, they travel all over the United States. We're really glad to have them be able to be rescheduled, and we just hope the weather will be better this time. So that will be August 7th at 7. But we're also going to have another performance on August 14th. And that's going to be with Lem Shepherd and Jomo Jazz. They were actually slated for our very first performance in the series, but that day got completely rained out. But we've just, had all the rain this summer.
Great, Emily. I appreciate that. No pressure on the weather guy. So once again, Lem Shepherd, he's going to be out there on the 14th. That's right. He's bluesy, folksy, got a rock vibe to him. And once again, that's Me Like Bees coming up on the 7th. And folks, once again, I want to reiterate that Connect to Culture and what Emily's able to do is these concerts out at Mercy Park, they're absolutely free because these artists, especially Me Like Bees, you'd be paying concert prices to go see them as they go on tour. And even when they've been an opening act for nationwide tours before. So take advantage of that. Now, speaking of the 14th, Emily, the Lem's going to play at 7 p.m., but you also give us the opportunity for a little arts and cultural preview that Saturday morning, the 14th.
Yes, and this is our 6th annual arts and cultural preview for the Joplin area. We usually have anywhere from 20 to 40 different arts and cultural organizations that come together to present what they have planned for the next year. Last year we had to do it only online via Zoom, and we're happy to be back in person for this event at the Joplin Public Library. So basically what will happen, arts and cultural organizations will have 2 minutes to update the community, and you'll learn about, what is Spiva Center for the Arts up to? What is Heartland Opera Theater going to present this next year? What is Post Art Library doing? What are these organizations doing? And we're also partnering with the TV station out at MSSU to video all of these.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, we'll put them on YouTube later so people can go back and kind of put things in their calendar so they don't miss them.
I was just about to say that. It's such a great primer if you see an event that you're just dead set on making sure you want to get to, you find out about it at the preview, and you can kind of plan according as far as what you want to do. So once again, we got Jomo Jammin' August 7th, Me Like Bees, August 14th, Lem Shepherd, August 14th in the morning from 10 to 12, Joplin Public Library, the Arts and Cultural Preview. Hey, you've got a couple exhibits that I want to get to as well. I got to run to a commercial break. Would you mind coming back here in just a little bit?
I'll be here.
All right, Emily Frankowski from Connect to Culture, who we'll catch up with her on the flip side, and more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero. Master Sergeant Nicholas DeLong served in the United States Air Force from 1972 to 1975. His hometown, Joplin. We're proud to salute Nicholas DeLong, a four-state hero. The city of Carthage played host to the Four-State Record Show. It's a twice-a-year event connecting vinyl lovers with collectors. During the past several years, there's been an increase in interest in vinyl, so KOAM's Chris Warner went to the record show to check it out.
Twice a year, in February and July, the Carthage Memorial Hall opens its doors to vinyl lovers across the region and to dealers looking to make a sale and a connection.
About 25 dealers here and 47 tables all full of collectibles, vinyl, CDs, cassettes, anything music related.
Lynn Brentforder is one of the co-hosts of the show. They started the record show 3 years ago, and he says it's growing only because of the community.
There's so much support for the vinyl community in this area, and all these dealers are generally saying they're doing better here than they do at home, shows at home, so everybody's thrilled to come out.
Tom Dutton came up from Tulsa to offer his collection. What's surprising to him at the show is the ages of the people coming out.
It's good to see the younger people coming out to buy vinyl and buying old vinyl too. Original pressings are probably the highest point of selling here.
Dutton himself is no stranger to vinyl.
I've been collecting since I was 7. I'm 65 now. Buying records all my life. I never stopped. Even when it waned in the 90s, I still bought.
Despite that pause, in the last few years, vinyl and record players have become a trend again.
It's very good to see that that medium is being recognized, that it has a superior sound over CDs or any other option.
For Dutton, it's all about what we mentioned earlier, connecting to fellow vinyl lovers.
I think that's the fun I get, is that I talk to people about them. They'll ask me questions about certain bands. I'll point them to the right direction of which bands are really good and which albums are the best. And I get repeat customers that way. Steer them in the right direction, they come right back.
In Carthage, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Organizers say they're already looking forward to next year's show, which will be in February. Another half hour of news and weather just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, the eviction moratorium expires. Why that's got some officials worried about a housing crisis. And we get a preview of some more Connect to Culture events for the month of August. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
State's most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Mercy Hospital Joplin's president says the area's current COVID-19 surge is putting a strain on their healthcare workers. With 75 COVID-19 hospitalizations as of Friday and 20 of those patients on a ventilator, the Mercy president says that the increase in COVID patients is having a bigger effect on the hospital. The hospital adds that 94% of those hospitalized for COVID-19 are unvaccinated. A federal grand jury indicted 6 Southwest Missouri residents accused in a kidnapping conspiracy that resulted in the death of the victim. The case is from July of last year. That's when authorities served a search warrant at a property on Cherry Road in Joplin. After a standoff, they found the body of 41-year-old Michael Hall, who had been reported missing from Carthage. At that time, they arrested Freddie Tilton in the home. Tilton had been wanted on domestic assault charges. Now Tilton and 5 others are charged in connection with Hall's kidnapping. In addition to Tilton, the suspects are Carla Ward, Amy Thomas, James Gibson, Lawrence Vaughn, and Russell Hurt. The indictment alleges that after Hall was kidnapped, he was bound, beaten, stabbed, and then shot to death. Voters in Oronogo will have a tax question in front of them tomorrow. Yesterday, the Oronogo Fire Protection District held an open house to help educate voters about the upcoming tax question. Voters are being asked to approve a tax increase of 30 cents to help fund staffing, volunteers, and equipment upgrades.
Right now, we're currently only working with a minimum of 1 firefighter on duty 24 hours a day. So anything more than that, is going to be a blessing. So makes it safer for the community, the actual residents that live here, and also safer for the firemen that are on duty working on those calls.
If approved, the increase would take the current tax from 60 cents to 90 cents on every $100. A local artist just finished his latest mural in downtown Joplin. The mural, titled "Look Up and Smile," aims to make the people of Joplin do just that. Eric Hahn, the artist behind the painting, says he was inspired to make the piece because he wanted to add more beauty to Joplin and create something that could brighten people's day. You can find the mural at 8th and Main in downtown Joplin. And Saturday may have been a hot one here in the 4-state area, but that didn't stop plenty of motorcycle enthusiasts from supporting the Joplin Humane Society. They did it by participating in the Show the Love Poker Run, which was organized by Cycle Connection in Joplin. There were some big bucks for the winner and a lucky loser. The winning hand took home $1,000 and the worst hand went home with $250. And even though the motorcycles were the star of the show, the event made it known that all bikes and cages were welcome. At least 8 people have died in Turkey's forest fires along the Mediterranean coast. Meanwhile, over 1,100 people were evacuated by sea from the tourist hotspot of Bodrum yesterday. According to the country's Agriculture and Forestry Ministry, 111 fires have started in Turkey since July 28th. 6 of them are still raging in 3 different cities. That is a lot of different fires in only a few days, 1,100.
And Zach, of course, all the wildfires that we have out to the West Coast are actually going to play
Right.
a little bit of a role in our weather. Now, while we think about just the absolute maddening living conditions they have out there, we actually have to worry about ozone and PM 2.5. Here's the long and short of it.
Okay.
All the ash, smoke, everything like that is drifting. It is drifting across the Midwest. There's a great website. It's called airnow.gov. AIRNOW.gov.
Okay.
If you have any breathing concerns, or family members or loved ones, asthma, COPD, it's going to be worth checking airnow.gov for the next several days, because I'm gonna make a little map here. All right, see all that gray out there, and from Denver to Rapid City. Well, that's air quality warning. And you go, well, we don't have to worry about it here, do we? As a matter of fact, our ozone right now, if I were to take this, make a circle from Hayes to Dodge City, just through us in southeast Kansas. But I want to include Coffeyville, Independence, and Chanute in my circle right here, because that is going to be this afternoon. That's going to end up being a little bit unhealthy to be out during the peak heating hours of the day. Now, temperatures, that's not the problem. Problem is all that haze that's going to be out there that is going to obscure the sun a little bit. Well, if you have breathing concerns, once again, asthma and COPD being the main ones I want to point out. Best thing to do really for this afternoon, keep it inside. Enjoy the morning, and wait till the sun goes down a little bit and enjoy your evening. But that's something that we'll keep track of here, because it's not only going to be today, it's going to be through the rest of the week. We'll be back, catch back up with Emily Frankowski from Connect to Culture right after this. Back to the KOAM Morning News, and as we focus on some upcoming cultural events, we talk about specific dates like Jomo Jammin' that took place, or it's taking place August 7th and the 14th, the Cultural Arts Preview taking place specifically on Saturday the 14th as well, and Emily Frankowski from Connect to Culture rejoins us. Now, Emily, I want to let people know that there also are some exhibits that you have that are open for an elongated period of time, that they can kind of make time to do. And one of those, of course, is at the Spiva Center for the Arts. And I'd like to start with Carolyn Cardenas that you were telling me about. Yeah, a little bit about her background that you were informing me.
Yeah, so Carolyn Cardenas is actually a previous department head for art at Missouri State University, so right down the road in Springfield. And her partner, Bobby Ross, they are going to have an exhibit in the main gallery at Spiva Center for the Arts that it will start at the end of July and go through September. So you'll have plenty of time to head to Spiva and check it out.
All right, and then we have Craft and Canvas. I do want to point out that this is for 21 and older folks, but there's a good reason for that, because we're going to do Craft and Kansas at Chaos Brewing. So that sounds like a good time. This is coming up on Thursday, August the 5th.
Yes, you're exactly right. And this is the first Thursday of the month. So I'm kind of assuming that if it all goes well, that this will become kind of a monthly offering. But Creighton Sip Studios, which is actually right down the road from Chaos Brewery on Main Street in Joplin, they're partnering and doing this, kind of a sip and paint event with Chaos Brewery Brews. So with your $40 entry, you will get everything that you need to create a piece of artwork, and you'll get step-by-step instruction by an artist, instructor, and included in that $40 price is a drink ticket. So you'll get to kind of experience Chaos Brewery's beers on tap, and they're all locally brewed right here in Joplin.
And once again, that's at Chaos Brewing coming up on Thursday, August the 5th. John Coleman from Create and Sip right there. I know a number of people who take part in the old the paintings. And the thing is, once you go to one, folks, you're going to find the next one and go to it. Next thing you know, you're going to have a hallway with your own artwork that you've been able to put together. Emily, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Emily Frankowski of Connect to Culture. If it weren't for Emily and her wonderful organization, we'd be a whole lot less privy to a whole bunch of great events that you put on. Emily, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after. News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Kansas City's mandatory mask mandate now in effect. Tomorrow, a pair of metro businesses say they're going to start enforcing even stricter guidelines. Woody's and Hamburger Mary's beginning tomorrow. They're going to allow only those who have been vaccinated or show proof of vaccination to enter the facility. The owner of Hamburger Mary says those who are not vaccinated can still order food online and pick it up. You just can't come in the building. Now, as our question to you is, should businesses be able to ask for proof of vaccination? We've seen this thing go back and forth all morning long. Right now, we've got 55% of you saying no, businesses should not be able to ask for proof. And I tell you what, the response this morning has been overwhelming. Want to appreciate everybody. Thank you. And we greatly appreciate everybody's engagement in this. You can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Zach?
And as Michael just said, more businesses are taking steps to protect customers and employees from the coronavirus. Kroger, Apple, and Publix are either requiring or recommending masks in their stores. Walmart is mandating vaccines for its non-retail workers, and it's doubling the bonus paid to employees for getting the shot from $75 to $150. It's the start of a new month, and millions of Americans who are behind on their rent could soon be evicted. John Lawrence explains.
The United States is hurtling toward a housing crisis.
We can't work, we can't pay.
More than 11 million people are currently late on their rent payments, and soon they could be out of their homes.
Not only do I expect to see mass evictions across the country and filings, I also expect to see all of those cases that are currently on hold immediately move forward, and widespread eviction in all of those cities and states where tenants were being protected from the federal moratorium.
Democratic lawmakers failed to get enough votes to extend the ban on evictions for non-payment of rent, which the CDC imposed last September. The moratorium expired Saturday. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi says state and local governments should use the Emergency Rental Assistance Program to help residents. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin says he agrees.
First of all, the money's already there, as you said. Why didn't it go out the door? I can't tell you that. I don't know. But to put blame on anybody right now, let's fix that and make sure that we're able to use the money for the purpose it was appropriated for.
In the meantime, under pressure landlords are getting ready to file eviction papers in local court.
I've had one apartment director who has told me that he manages multiple units in different complexes. He's told me he's bringing in, just him alone, over 300.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention put the eviction freeze into place last year in an attempt to limit the spread of COVID-19. And now that it has expired, some health officials fear evictions could result in a greater surge of the virus. Broadway theaters are preparing to reopen in the coming weeks. Passover is set to open on Wednesday. Theater owners say audience members will have to show proof they've been vaccinated for COVID-19 and will have to wear masks as well. Those rules are expected to be in place through October and could be extended beyond that. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the four-state market. Emancipation Park Days makes a return to Joplin as four-staters celebrate the end of slavery. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on Saturday's festivities.
Joplin's Emancipation Celebration commemorates the freeing of slaves. It's different from Juneteenth due to the length of time it took to get the word out that slaves were free. That's why this celebration happens in Joplin in August instead of June. It's already a long-standing tradition at Joplin's Ewart Park.
Joplin recently started having small events for Juneteenth. This has always been our Juneteenth pretty much, and so Emancipation Day is what we have celebrated here. We can go back as far as 1927 here in Ewart Park.
The celebration that started Friday night is meant to bring together people in the community while educating them on African American history, culture, and achievement.
So Emancipation Days is pretty much like a family reunion. I mean, people come together, we have good food, we have great music, we have stuff for kids every day. It's all free and open to the community to come out and enjoy. We educate about African American history, culture, and achievement through the food that we have here, through the music that we have playing all throughout the day and night. We also have resource and informational booths that we set up, and we do educate about African American history.
This celebration brought out people from all over the 4 states, including 4 state educators like Park Ranger Curtis Gregory.
It's a good day to reflect, have people come out, visitors come out and learn a little bit more about the area, about the Black history in this area, and again, just to celebrate the African American experience.
Gregory says he was attracted to the event to spread more information about the scientist, and says he would have celebrated this day as well.
He would have been a part of, of a generation that would have really celebrated Juneteenth and Emancipation Days probably most of his life.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Organizers emphasize the importance of passing down information to younger generations, like what was done at this weekend's festivities.
Weather cooperated?
Seems like it did.
Not too bad.
Yeah, looked like it did.
Tell you what, Zach and I were talking about that lingering haze, and we're picking it up right now on both of our tower cameras. I mean,
outside.
You want to say mostly sunny, but then again, it just lacks that clarity that you'd expect, and that is a result of the West Coast wildfires. And I'm going to emphasize once again, it's a little better. They're over 7th and Rangeline, but I want to emphasize if you or you've got family, loved ones that have any conditions like asthma or COPD, I want you to be very wary of that, especially during the afternoon hours. Now, temperatures are very nice. I'm going to get out, take an early morning walk, if you will, before it really sets in, because that haze is going to be hanging around all day long. It's very comfortable outside, anywhere from about 62 to 67 right now is where we're sitting. And remove the old sweeping radar, and it's a beautiful Skywatch storm tracker with all the rain staying way down to our south. Now, while we do not have any air quality warnings, I do want everybody to know that those are springing up on the eastern side of the Rockies. Ozone is one of the main threats from that ash and the smoke that's causing our haze right now. And just know that that's going to be lingering for the next several days, as a matter of fact. Severe thunderstorm risk, it's pretty negligible through the contiguous 48. And it'd be nice if California could get some of that rain to help out with those wildfires. But right now, looks like it just wants to hang around the Oregon area. Our afternoon planner, thank goodness we don't have to put up with that July heat anymore. How about mid-80s? And then overnight, open up those windows, air out the house, because we're going to be back down into the 60s. Now, during the afternoon hours here for the next several days, there you go, a little pop, pop, pop. A little raindrop come down, last 5-10 minutes, work its way out. Not going to have any thunder, lightning, anything like that. And really, we get to enjoy a very mild beginning to August, as we'll range in the mid-80s here, middle of the week. Then we slowly creep back up to the point where we've got 90s on Friday through Sunday. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Dr. Anthony Fauci says some 100 million unvaccinated Americans, quote, are the ones that are propagating this outbreak of COVID-19. This summer, the U.S. is seeing a sharp rise in new cases and hospitalizations as the more contagious Delta variant spreads. The CDC says nearly half of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated. Senators unveil a nearly $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package on Capitol Hill late Sunday. The legislation is nearly 3,000 pages long and comes after days of work. It's expected to spark lengthy debate before it comes up for vote. Smoke from wildfires in California and across the West prompted the posting yesterday of air quality and health alerts in several states, including portions of Colorado, Wyoming, and Washington State. Now let's check in with Michael for our final look at the forecast.
Haze and smoke from the West Coast wildfire is going to be a little bit of an issue for us. For those of you with breathing issues, know that That's why that haze is out there. We do not have any air quality warnings currently in effect, but just want everybody to be safe. And then Future Track has a little pop-up each and every afternoon, but our temperature's just marvelous for the beginning of August as we're going to ride mid-80s until the heat reemerges for the weekend.
And check this out, Michael. These paddle boarders were a sight to be seen in Russia. Thousands dressed up in colorful costumes and paddled their way through the waterways of St. Petersburg on Saturday. The city hosted its annual stand-up paddleboarding festival. Costumes ranged from fairy tale characters to superheroes, and apparently that's terrifying. The paddleboarders took in the sights and sounds of the city as they made their way along the canals.
Look how many of them there are.
Yeah, that's a lot of paddleboarders. Not moving quite as fast as I thought they would be, but that's still pretty crazy.
That's crazy. I love the costumes, though. All right, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.